We good? Cheers.
Okay, we'll open the meeting up. We'll stand for the pledge, then we have the public hearing. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll open the meeting up to a public hearing regarding the Code of Conduct policy for the 2023-2024 school year.
So the board all received copies of the draft manual. We highlighted in yellow for the board the sections that were updated. This was a joint effort of the administration, the community members from the DEI committee weighed in as well. So it's had a full review. Legal counsel has done a review of it. There really wasn't much other than verbiage and that one section in yellow about dress code type things. We're just tightening up some language where there were some misunderstandings, and so we're ready to get it adopted so we can get it printed for our students and get it up on our website after approval. So if the public has any comments, doesn't look like we have any. We have not received any, I don't believe, Mr. Zimmer.
No.
And so we're ready to move forward on that as the meeting progresses.
Okay, any comments from the board regarding the Code of Conduct policy?
Just that I read through it. You know, thank you for the highlighting of the items. It's a document that we approve each year, and it really becomes the cornerstone for a lot of our, whether it be student discipline or discussions about student behavior and expectations here in the schools. So I appreciate it. We also know this is a living document, right? Should there be a change throughout the year, you know, it comes back for a review and parents get a chance to review and comment on it. But thank you for the work on that, Bill.
If no other comments, we'll close the public hearing and we'll open the floor up to public comment. No public comment. So we'll go into our consent item agenda, EA1 to C6. C6 is our tax levy and tax warrant. So Lindsay will want us to, I think we should do roll call on that. We normally do on the tax levy, tax warrant, but part of the consent agenda.
We can pull it if you want to do a roll call. I have no problem with that.
That's easy.
Yeah, let's pull that and do a roll call.
Right. Fair enough. It's the last item, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's the last item.
Last item.
So if you have any questions, you want to pull anything else out, we can certainly do that. If you need any clarification on any item, I'm sure our executive team here can answer you on any questions you have. So let's just get a motion to move forward our consent items. So can I have a motion? Motion by Tom, second by Mike. Any questions, concerns? We are pulling C6 out, Lisa.
Mm-hmm.
Just thank you to the administration. There's a lot of positions here, a lot of activity. We knew there would be, so, and a lot goes into the recruitment of new personnel. So thank you for that effort. How close are we to filling our positions for 23, 24?
All of the academic positions are filled. Some of the support staff we are still missing. I put that in my update. We're down on bus drivers, bus aides.
Understood.
I'll talk about that later in my report.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, no one has any questions, concerns, and we're good, except pulling out C6. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried 6-0.
Okay, and so we do have one of our hires here with us this evening. Victoria Menard will be a special ed leave replacement at the elementary school through on or about November 30th. So thank you for being here, and thank you for doing this work and applying for the position.
Thank you. I feel honored for the position. Thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
Okay, our tax levy and tax warrant. Be resolved, the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the superintendent, approves the following 2023-2024 real property tax levy and library tax resolution as attached, presented, and available to view within this agenda. Can I have a motion, please? Motion by Janine, second by Heather.
Okay, at this point, I'm going to do a roll call.
Yes, everybody get an opportunity to look at that and the assessed values and so forth. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna just state your name, just say yes or no. Heather Welch,
Yes.
Ed Mizell,
Yes.
Janine Gemmel,
Yes.
Mike Bakaxias,
Yes.
Tom Miller,
Yes.
Alan Barone.
Yes.
Okay, that's all in favor, 6-0. Thank you.
Okay. Moving right along. Our superintendent's comments.
So I'm gonna first defer to the assistant superintendents, because I know they each have something they wanted to report, even though they're,
Sorry.
we missed them. I think it was from the last agenda when it was just
Don't worry,
me.
we're not.
They're gonna be quick.
Sorry,
Superintendent.
okay.
I'll go.
Please do.
Our usual summer stuff, we have a lot of grants that go out. So at the beginning of July, our 611 and 619 special education grants were submitted. Those predominantly support some of our special education teacher salaries, as well as some of the money that we have to send out to private schools for their allocations. Our ESSA funded, which are our title grants, will be going out by the end of the month. Some of that money is used to support AIS teachers, professional development for teachers, and translation services, and help support our SRO program as well. Our extended school year program, we have a lot of students that are in program that will be finishing up. Some programs will end this Friday, some of them will end next Friday. So we'll be wrapping that up. We've had some recent transfers, so we've been handling students coming in and out that are moving over the summer. So finalizing their programs and getting paperwork from other districts. And then finally today I met with our social worker team, and over the last couple of years we've had a big increase in social emotional needs for students. So we're looking at how we handle that need with our social workers, and just tightening up our process. Like our intake process, and how they get from a student will get to see a social worker, and what that looks like, and how we can streamline it for parents and for teachers, but formalizing the process a little bit. So we'll be looking to roll that out across all 3 buildings, our new process in the fall. That's it for me.
Any questions for Dr. Boyd? Mr. Zimmer?
Good evening, everyone. I'll be brief. I have 3 items to share with you. On July 6th, some of our administrators attended Mid-Hudson Leadership Institute Conference hosted by Ulster BOCES. That was at SUNY Ulster. It's usually at SUNY New Paltz, but this year SUNY Ulster was the place where it was. Some of the topics explored proactive techniques on the multitude of challenges that face public schools, various methods to build internal capacity, and a foundational focus on leadership and sustained success and wellness. As always, the day gave us a fantastic opportunity to collaborate with colleagues from neighboring districts. It was a day well spent for those who could attend. Second, several teachers from all 3 buildings have been participating in curriculum writing this summer. There are many collaborative curricular projects going on in various departments and grade levels across the district, some of which include vertical and horizontal alignment, as well as aligning curriculum with updated New York State Next Gen standards. And finally, our 2-day new teacher orientation is scheduled for August 16th and 17th. That's next week. That's next Wednesday and Thursday. 12 newly hired teachers will attend, 5 of whom are leave replacements. So we have 7 new teachers, but 12 altogether with the leave replacements. And I'm very much looking forward to working with our new hires and welcome to our district next week. And that's all I have for you.
As far as the kickoff of universal pre-K, how's that going?
Doing well. I haven't heard anything, which no news is good news. I believe. We had all of our registrants registrar with our district registrar, and then we forwarded the names to the preschools, and they are going through their process right now. I just put it on my to-do list today to reach out to them to check in to make sure everything, but the ball's in their court. So far so good. We're looking strong, and I've no issues at this point.
And all of our spots were filled, right?
Oh, we have 40 spots filled, yes. All the spots were filled. So I've been anticipating, I'm waiting to hear if
Yes,
some of
they're
them backed out. I haven't heard anything yet because we'll go back to the waiting list and see what we can do. But we got through there. We have 40 spots, and to be honest, I think we got through. There were 40 on the wait list. We got through about 20 of them on the wait list. So we have about 20 left on the wait list. I don't know if we'll be able to, offer them anything, but we'll see within the next couple of weeks. I should have more information for you on the next board meeting.
Good.
But so far, so good.
Thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Zimmer? All right. Superintendent?
All right, well, I have a series of thank yous and public acknowledgments to make this evening. This summer has been, as you can tell from our agenda, it's going fast and furiously, and we couldn't be here tonight approving the folks that we have on this agenda without the work of the building administrators and their interview teams, and then the assistant superintendents who everyone goes through a building committee, and then they go through a committee with us to make sure that they are indeed the choice for our district. So a lot of time and energy goes into that, so I just wanted to publicly thank all those folks. Additionally, the code of conduct was just presented earlier and hopefully approved later in the agenda, but a lot of people are involved in that. And this year, with the help of Mr. Zimmer and Ms. Meyer, who oversees the DEI program, or DEI initiative, took some considerations into effect to bring back to the building administrators when they were looking at that code. So it's good to see that work is coming around full circle and influencing things. So thank you to all those that worked on that. Frank is here, so I will acknowledge him personally. Frank and the other administrators headed up a review of our athletic code of conduct and handbook, which I have forwarded to the board in draft form. There were some questions that came in over the weekend. Frank and his team got together and answered those questions and actually made some revisions. So it's good sometimes to, as you're going through something over and over again, you miss some things. So it's good to have a fresh set of eyes. So, for the parents that are on the board, especially those that are in sports, taking a close look at that to see how that impacts everything. So that was very helpful to get those questions. And I sent out the answers to those questions to the board today in an email along with the draft. If there are any other questions that come in between now and approving it at the next meeting, please let me know so that I can get it to Frank and we can get you answers on that. But our goal is to have that approved on the 21st at the next meeting. I'll also include it in my Friday update just in case you did not see that email today. Also, thanks to Mr. Zimmer and our administrative intern, Dan Sommerfeld, for the work that they did on getting this year's district-wide safety plan updated. That plan has been online since mid-July, so that we have the 30, that's one that's required to be up for 30 days for a 30-day public comment period. We'll also have during the beginning of the next meeting a public forum as we did for the code of conduct tonight. So if anyone has any additional information to present, but we also have a link on our website that if anyone has any questions or concerns or things that the district-wide committee needs to look at, they'll get them to Bill in the next week or two. And if we have to make any changes, that doesn't change from year to year. That's the district over encompassing one. The only thing that was really new to that last year was the SRO. So that's in there again this year. And then new this year, the state has mandated that we outline what a remote learning plan would look like if we ever have to invoke that. So so that was all done under the framework that the state had put out. So that's listed in that plan as well. So that'll be on the 21st. This past Friday, all of the administrators that were in district that day attended the annual school law conference at Mount St. Mary's College as part of the Mid-Hudson School Study Council's annual law conference review. It's a good day, packed with information about things that either have been challenged across the state or new laws that are coming into effect within the next year, or at least on the docket to be reviewed by the governor and waiting for approval. So that always helps us to get our lens on what could possibly take place in the coming year. So that was a good day. As I mentioned to some board members a little while ago, when we were walking down the hall, tomorrow afternoon I will be leaving the district for a couple of days to attend the Ulster County Superintendent's Retreat, which all of the superintendents in the county attend. So that will be tomorrow afternoon, Thursday, and Friday. Bill and Patrick will both be in district should anything arise, and I am reachable by phone. So if anyone needs anything, do not hesitate. And then finally, with thank yous, just thank you to our custodial staff and our secretaries and folks that work all summer long. This has been a very fast-paced summer. I think next summer is going to be even faster with the building project going on. So just thank them for the hard work. The buildings already look spectacular. The secretaries have been working tirelessly to get the buildings up and ready, and guidance counselors have been in, so schedules are just about ready in all areas. I know elementary letters are going home to parents in the next day or two, if they haven't already gone out today. And I know they were working on those to get those out. So thank you to all those folks. Just as a point of public information, but it's also on our website, we will be having a 6th grade orientation on August 22nd between 4 and 15 p.m. and 6 and 7:15 p.m. 9th grade will be hosting an orientation on August 24th from 4 to 6. Kindergarten will have their annual orientation on September 6th. Two sessions in the morning, differentiated by teacher and by where you fall in the alphabet. So that information is going home to parents this week. I mentioned it earlier, but I know I mentioned it. We've been mentioning it. You probably have seen our Facebook page and our website, but we are in a driver shortage right now, as the rest of the country is. Some things that we've done to try to alleviate this is we've sent out a robo email. I actually sent that out last week to all of the people in our community and asked them if they're interested or if they know of anyone. I gave them the contact information for our Director of Transportation, her email and her phone, and she has received a number of inquiries. Now, not everybody is, you can't just call and say you want to drive a bus tomorrow, so there's a process. So she's walking them through. She got about, I think it was like 5 emails returned and 7 phone calls. So if even 2 or 3 of those, come our way, that would be great. She also later this afternoon told me that one of the folks that she's been using as a sub has a driving test before school starts and one that will be shortly thereafter. So we are down about 7 drivers right now, but we're working hard. Also, Kathy and her staff, they've been doing an application drive. So they've been at Hannaford and basically just hitting the pavement and trying to find people where they are and seeing if, this is something that they'd be interested in. So she goes with a stack of applications and hopes to garner some folks. It's been posted on all of our electronic boards, our Facebook pages, all of our other social medias, again, the robo email and in-person events. And that's all that I have.
Any questions for the superintendent?
Yeah, actually, with all the hiring that was done and interviewing that was done, did each building have their own grouping of people? Have we divvied that up and spread it out? Do we change the grouping during the course of the year as we have future hiring?
I'm not sure.
In
We had interview committees.
Yeah, the interview committees.
And it really, especially the summer, it depends on who's available.
Right.
So
we try to mix it up.
Yeah, as much as we possibly can, yeah.
And during the course of the year, it's easier because you have people.
Yeah, I mean, if we're taking folks out of class to do interviews, that's, but typically we try to do them after school so that we're not impacting instruction as much.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it's difficult to get a full committee in the summer, but I think every building does a good job. So if it's a teacher, you try to bring in teacher reps, but you also try to bring in a support person or two that knows other aspects of the job, and they contribute to the overall interview process. So
it's good to see different people doing that, and not always get the same people doing the interviewing, and you get different opinions.
Sure.
And
No, that's typically the interview committees in the buildings, depending on what the position is, sometimes range from 5 or 6 people to 12 people, which is almost a little bit too many people sitting at the table.
Yeah.
But as we implemented a couple of years ago a rubric system so that everybody's scoring each person individually, not scoring them as a group. So everyone's opinions are at least part of the scoring process.
Okay.
For our incoming kindergarten class, do you know an approximate number? Are we on the higher side, lower side? You can get back to me if you need to. I guess.
I don't have the answer for that number tonight, but I know it warranted the 6th section.
Did it?
Yes.
There is an uptick in the.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Just seems like we have peaks and valleys,
Yeah,
so I was just
we do.
curious.
Well, on 3rd grade, we're down to 4 sections in 3rd grade.
Are we really?
We have never had 4 sections since
Wow.
I was the building principal there. We've never been down that
Yeah,
low.
there's some classes that are smaller.
Yeah.
So as 4th grade or as 3rd grade dropped down, we took one of those
Like 100
positions.
kids, give or take?
It's lower than that.
Lower, yeah.
Yeah.
I looked at our kindergarten enrollment of the
That's-
last 3 years, and it was 100 last year, 127 the year before, and then 85 the year before. So it's
Now it's the COVID year, right? I mean,
No, there wouldn't be. I'd be curious to see if it's gonna.
well, my son's
Yeah.
going into 4th.
It was
when
the
COVID happened,
it was
so that's
September
this
of
year.
20 was the
Right.
year with
Yeah.
85.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have thought there would have been a population spike rather than.
Right after.
Well, that will that's in like another 2 or 3 years. Those kids were probably, I think, kindergarten at that time, and it just happened to be an abnormally low class. I mean, we've had other low classes where we've gone down to 5 sections, but we've never gone down to
Not
4.
that low.
Interesting.
So, all right.
Okay, any other questions for the superintendent? We'll move into Board of Education, new business. I'll give you a report on our support service and old business. And then we'll talk about a couple things in new business that might not be on the agenda. Code of Conduct Policy, be it resolved, the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the superintendent, approves the Code of Conduct Policy for the 2023-2024 school year as presented at this meeting during public hearing. Can I have a motion, please? Motion by Ed, second by Heather. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried 6-0. 2 new business items. One of them is in your board packet. The athletic department has asked about sending the boys baseball team to Florida during spring break for spring training down there at, I believe it's Disney's Wide World of Sports.
That's the intention, yes.
So just generate some discussion if you feel it's something that we can entertain. I believe Frank can speak as far as fundraising will commence once the board gives you some direction of moving this forward. We did it in the past, I don't know how many years ago, for several years, the boys baseball team, I believe even the girls softball team some years went down south or went to Mid-Atlantic states to participate. So, board have any concerns, any input as far as
We've done it in the past.
there'll be no
Last year?
cost to the district. I believe it's all gonna come under fundraising that the club will entertain from whenever we give them, the blessing to move it forward until it happens in the spring.
Chaperoned under their own parameters, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure, we could just do a straw poll right now and then formally, accept it, but the straw poll will probably allow the athletic department and the varsity baseball team and those parents that are involved in the fundraising to start, proceeding, and then Frank could bring back to us the parameters and all the, what's going to happen, and maybe a preliminary schedule itinerary and chaperones and all that.
So right now, there's no cost to the district.
Right
That's
now,
what we're
as
assuming?
far as I understand, there's no cost to the district.
Correct.
Is the intention to fully fund it through fundraising or costs to the family?
There may be a cost to the family. It depends on what the final numbers are, depends on airfare and things like that. But right now, I believe, we've had 2 meetings, with some parents, and, intentions is to try to raise as much money as possible. With approved fundraising that's approved by myself as athletic director and also approved by the building principal, like we normally would do.
You can get great rates potentially just going down to Florida and back, depending on.
The only expense that I see as the district is just the chaperone piece, because that's not something that we had a heads up on for budgeting purposes, so.
So everybody's,
I think any experience we can give the students that it enlarges their experience, I think it's wonderful, as long as it is maintained within the auspices of the code of conduct that we're setting forth. I'm all for it.
I would like just to acknowledge the fact that it's been brought to the board before. Actually, it's been planned and the fundraising has been done, which is huge. Like, I agree. I understand that there's already been some meetings, which is fine. But usually we are kind of just a rubber stamp. So, I'm all for it, but certainly appreciate just the heads up before.
We made sure no fundraising was approved until the board approved. That was the goal of the 2 times when we met. We wanted to make sure the interest was there, and we believe it's there.
Yeah, no, certainly appreciate it.
I think we'll put on the agenda for formal approval. We'll do that at very near future once Frank.
You may not have all of the details for that.
Right.
I mean,
It's not needed.
Yeah.
And we have the mechanisms are in effect that if there is a family that couldn't, if it does, hopefully it doesn't come down to the families having to support, pay, but we do have the mechanisms in effect.
I think
if there's a family
scholarships will
need,
be available for those that
Okay.
might not be able to. Yeah. I don't think
make sure
the intent would be to leave any of the
That's all right.
ball players out of the participating.
For those parents who met and discussed, to ensure that there was interest and then to discuss the fundraising, the intent is to try and have it fully, funded, but obviously a lot of that depends on travel and all, and timing and all of that stuff. So that's what we're working towards, is to have it fully.
Okay. Good. And
so
the
on
other,
the next agenda.
yeah, we put it on the next.
I have a follow-up. Yep.
Perfect.
Okay. This might be new business. It might be just good and welfare of the district, but I'm not sure if you guys got the School Boards Association on their 2024 federal talking points. What kind of hit me, and we're somewhat building it into our capital project, but zero emission school buses by 2027. All New York State school districts that run their own school bus service have to purchase zero emission buses. And then by 2035, all our combustible engine vehicles have to be off the road. So I think, and then the feds are through that, the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act that was passed. I mean, they're going to invest, I think, $5 billion to the country for school districts to help fund. That doesn't mean that we're going to get a grant that's going to fully fund zero emission buses, but there are concerns out there, and I think we all have concerns. With these
They have to be available to buy, first of all, right? I mean,
currently, and I think we can get some feedback. Currently, Roundout got a grant, I think, for some zero emission buses, from what I understand.
Roundout and
Ontiora
both got grants, but they're also looking for places they have to buy land to actually put where these buses go and the infrastructure to charge the buses, and the batteries last half the time that the buses do. currently Mr. Miller and I are working with Kathy McCulloch as well to talk about looking at our fleet, because our bus plan, as you know,
That was my other
Replacement
the
schedule.
replacement schedule is done. So we also have a plan next year to look at our facility and see what would be needed if we were to go into having to change everything to electric. We are different than Onteora and Rondout in the fact that we own our own fleet. So it would be a little different than that, but we need to make sure we have the infrastructure to charge these buses before actually getting a grant for buses.
So that maintenance building that I wanted looks better and better every day.
Is electric the only, I know there was hydrogen fuel cells, I think were also, the only byproduct is water, right? Those are zero emission, or am I mistaken in that?
I think the state's push is for everyone to be electric.
Well, I mean,
That's all I've heard.
Hydrogen's another one that is out there. It's not
So
as
New York
predominant
State
as
now
electric,
has-
but it is, yeah.
I mean,
Albany actually has
it's going
one
to
of the
be a
leading hydrogen fuel.
cost placed upon the taxpayers of the district. I mean,
I think the whole state.
the whole state, yeah. But particularly ours, I mean, you take sports trips, you know, if you're running a sport trip to Ellenville and you get there, now you got to charge that bus because it might not make it back. You know, if you're going to Fallsburg, if you're going out to Pine Plains or Millbrook, possibility. So those districts have to have the capacity to charge our buses to get them back and the students back here, you know. It's going to be hopefully it's well vetted by everyone, not just jumping into it because we want zero emissions.
Yeah, I had forwarded some information to Kathy. I'll have to dig that up
I
again.
have it as well.
You do as well. And there was also, because I'm in charge of the fleet at Central Hudson, so we've been working on our plan, and there is a program on New York State to evaluate the fleet and the ability to electrify it. As a Central Hudson, as I wanted to do it for our internal fleet, and they told me it cost $20,000. But anybody else who wanted to do it would be free.
Right.
So I'll have to find that information because clearly it would help us here. Just because then that might be another kind of thing to put in our back pocket. It does assess kind of the readiness. And I will say, just from my experience at Central Hudson, we have two large bucket trucks that are fully electric. We've had them for a year. We are just now able to get the infrastructure in place to charge them. So it took a year. So really,
What did you do up until this point?
we have small chargers that take about 2 days to
Extension
charge
cords.
them. No, no, we have the level 2 chargers, but they take like 48 hours to charge them. So it's, you know, it's
And
not
it's not-
something we can rely on every day.
It's all the
so.
ends, the parts and pieces. It's not
Yeah.
the wire in between, but all the ends
Right.
are on back order. for
So
this
I
thing.
think you're on the right page just to say we need to figure out the infrastructure too.
Before we start
Even more
purchasing
so than
any
you start
electric
purchasing.
buses.
Yeah.
We, you know, I hear there's a cost to the electric side, but renewable energy is a concept that's here to stay. It's, you know, widely accepted.
Yeah.
And society, and I'm sure this is up for debate, as a whole, I think society is willing to bear the cost of clean air, clean water for the year 2070 and beyond. 2070, if you start reading some of the research, is a real key tipping point with the heat around average temperature.
101.
But we are looking into it, so.
Because ideally what I mean, like from our perspective, what we've done at Central Hudson is really get a vehicle to really supplement, like in addition to your fleet, so that you can get acceptance and usage of it and get people comfortable using it, rather than saying, okay, here's this, I'm taking yours away.
Right.
You know, and that's really what's worked out better for us, but not, you
and
don't
you
always have that ability to
And
do
you have
that.
access to the architects. I mean, this would be something additional they look at, but it's not like we're not without electrical infrastructure out there. Because we plug in the buses to heat them, right? So there's electric.
But there is
Out in the
significant,
lot.
There's probably a larger
there is
draw.
a significant increase needed.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Oh,
Yeah.
a
Draw
significant
is gonna be
increase.
tremendous.
Mhm.
And we're gonna be charging, you know, 30, 40 buses at a clip. probably the infrastructure there is gonna be tremendous for this.
I'm not too familiar
Yeah.
with it.
Those
It's
levels
not like
you
throw up
charge-
another sub panel and get up.
Yeah, right.
I think it's that, yeah. With that being said, with our capital project, we're changing out the lift at the bus compound, so there has been provisions in the surety that the new lifts are capable, because the electric buses are now couple thousand to 10,000 pounds heavier,
Yeah.
but the lift capacity now will accommodate that. So the new lifts that are going in, the bus garage will be able to
Accommodate that.
accommodate the new zero emission buses in the future. All right, under old business, to give you an update, we had our support service meeting just a little while ago. Phase one has recently been approved by SED. The last piece of it several weeks ago, I believe. The bid documents are going to hit the street on 8/18. We're going to have a pre-bid meeting on 9/5. That's going to be a walkthrough for all the contractors. Taking bids in is going to be on 9/15. And right now, tentatively, we're putting it on the board agenda for award of contracts on our 9/26 board meeting.
15's bid opening.
The bid opening will be on 9/15.
15.
Right. September 15th will be the bid opening. So that's phase one moving along. Trying to do scheduling and such. There are some things in the works for doing some night work at the elementary school, because a good majority of phase one is taking place at the elementary school, with the revisions to a lot of those classrooms that have the folding partitions and the asbestos floor tile and new lighting and new ceilings and new flooring, etc. So Joel and Pete and that staff and Lindsay are working on accommodating the second shift work for that. Reason why we're kind of pushing this a little bit, October 1st is a critical date for submission of the awards with values to go up to SED, so we can get building aid during the 24-25 school year. That's a critical piece there, and that's why we're trying to push this all in 5 weeks. Phase two is up to SED. Phase two encompasses a lot of the mechanical work, the new boilers, our new track, turf field, concession stand, the outdoor learning pavilion at the elementary school, middle school, bleachers, press box, and all that. So that's up there. Anticipation is somewhere in late fall, early winter for approval, and then out to bid early January, hopefully, sometime in January. That's pretty much an update on.
So we also
capital project.
we briefly talked a little bit about if we need to add an additional board meeting in September, so that they can get the work up to state ed by 9/29. We may propose a 9/21 or a 9/22, very brief meeting just for the purposes of approving those bids. So we'll know more as we get through this next couple of weeks, and we'll keep you posted on that.
Okay, anyone have any questions? Anything for good and welfare of the district? Any miscellaneous items? All right, we'll open it up to public comment.
I have a question for you. With the phase two or the fields or whatever, you're an expert in this, I guess, right? With the projects.
I wouldn't say expert, but
are you looking to say
knowledge?
We would.
You're looking to say the spring, or are you looking to say the summer, or are you looking to say the fall as far as starting work? Because really,
phase two right now, the anticipation is to kick off like April 1st, spring. Not to,
But everything's contingent upon New York State at this
Yeah.
point.
no, I
so-
get it. I get it. It's just that.
And getting materials.
Materials, the approval from SED, and once that occurs, I think then the discussion is going to be with the athletic department as far as where do we go. I know you got deadlines as far as schedules that.
Well, the schedule's the schedule. We just need to coordinate where else are we going to go.
Move down to the middle school or whatever it may be, yes.
Because if track work is going to happen in April on that field, then I have to find a spot for our track team.
Correct.
At another school.
And any spring sport that happens on that field, we'd have to
probably would go down to the middle school or Tony Williams. That's the biggest one for me would be track. Where would they go? Because they're not going to be able to go down to the middle school. They're going to have to go either to the college or one of the local other schools and probably practice at night.
I mean, I would hate
which is fine.
I would hate for you to spin your wheels and get something all settled and ready to go if, God forbid, the state drags their feet or we can't get things to go. Obviously, we'd love to have the kids just stay here, but I think it's prudent for us to be thinking, what are our options if we're able to get started at that date? I mean,
the college, they're pretty much finishing up their by that time, right? April to May.
June 1st is usually Memorial Day is when everything wraps up.
If you got bids in hand somewhere in the January, February timeframe, they're going to want to dig.
That's fine. That's fine.
The day school's done, maybe, possibly before, depending on how invasive it is and loud.
Right.
You still got a lot of classrooms.
Sure.
So they might want to do a lot of things.
The fortunate
might not be able
thing
to do
is,
it.
once SED gives us the approval, and if it happens in November, December,
It becomes more real.
Our design team and management team is working with state contracts. So they're working ahead of time. Actually, I believe in the next couple of weeks, they're meeting with bleacher people and so forth. When that happens, the SED approval, and they have some of these state contracts lined up, they can release them. So that material can get ordered in November or December, whenever we get the state approval. So that could be here on time for the contractors to install and move the project along. I guess my goal is to hopefully have the turf field up and running by October 1st, and maybe push some September games away if we have to. That's best case scenario. With the way securing materials and such, it might not happen, but we'll try our best to push in that direction. Anybody else for public comment? Okay, we'll close public comment and ask for adjournment to go into executive session to discuss superintendent's contract. Motion by Mike, second by Janine. All those in favor?
Aye.
I believe we can stay here.
Yep.
We'll shut our. Thank you, everyone.
Is everywhere all right temperature-wise?